Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Every Day is Friday, the show where we dive into the stories and experiences from people from all walks of life. Today, we have Justin on the podcast. He helps women over 30 get their dream body and actually keep it. Without crazy diets or spending hours in the gym, he created the B3 method to make weight loss simple. If you're tired of feeling stuck, this episode's for you. Justin, welcome to the show.
Matthew, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. And for the listeners who may not be familiar with your line of work yet, could you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
So, my name's Justin Mabson. I typically go by Coach Justin. I'm the founder of Elite Mind. I have also recently done a little bit more of a content shift and more so going to uh, I more helping people out. I've kind of switched from more vanity to value on my page. For those of you that follow, you'll see that I used to do more content of just me being shredded and shirtless, but I've kind of changed things up a little bit and just really started focusing over the past few years on providing that value and actually really helping people out because that's what I found happiness in.
No, it's always fascinating to hear the why behind everyone's passions. And I'm guessing you saw a big problem that needed a fix. What made you want to help women over 30 with weight loss?
I've had the amazing opportunity to work with some women that have struggled a lot in their lives to finally drop the weight and do so in a sustainable way. And I saw that this was an area that needed filling. And it's something I'm so passionate about that I knew that I was the one that needed to be doing this. I knew that I had the abilities for this and I had the education for this. And it's always been a passion of mine. And specifically, women over 30, I have resonated with because I'm very passionate about what I do. And typically women over 30 also are very passionate about making this step for themselves to achieve this level of happiness and this level of confidence. And so I just saw that as a spot that needed to be filled. I had a passion for it. It worked out perfectly, I'd say. And I wasn't really getting much done by just posting shirtless photos. I mean, sure, I was inspiring a lot of people by doing that. And I still do it occasionally at times because, it's still fun too. But I have found that there's a lot more value in trying to educate others and help people out around fitness.
I like that a lot. It's not just another quick fix. And a lot of people say that metabolism slows down after 30. I mean, how much of that is true and how much is that actually true?
Oh, it is true. It is true because what happens is you lose muscle mass as you get older. As you age, you just continue to lose muscle mass. A lot of people tend to increase their stress levels with things like their jobs, their kids, and everything like that. And these things both play a role in your metabolism and your hormones and overall how you feel throughout the day, the sustainability around your health. And so those are the things that I like to focus on is sustainability, hormones, as well as finding something that you can actually enjoy because that is what is going to help someone out that's especially above the age of 30. Before that, you can kind of get away with just like giving someone a calorie deficit, say eat less, work out more, and it'll work at the age of 18. But once you get a little bit older, those methods don't work anymore. You need something a little bit more tailored for you and who you are.
Yeah, why do some people over 30 feel like they're gaining weight faster when they're they don't change their diet?
I think most of it does come down to the changes that happen in your body as you age. Like I was saying, hormones just start to change. A lot of changes start to happen, as well as activity level tends to drop. Your stress levels start to go up. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is going to be chronically released when you are constantly in a state of stress. And that is just not good for the body. It's not good for the health. Acute stress, that has its times, that has its methods, but the chronic stress is the kind of stress that you want to avoid. You see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. And is it more like when you feel stressful, is it more of like you're gaining weight?
So it's not direct. It's not like stress equals weight gain. It's not that simple. It's more so stress levels can be a big cause in weight gain due to your body is thinking it's stressed and going back into the days of survival. You're stressed chronically, you're stressed for a long time. That usually means you're dying. And so your body would mean it needs to hold on to fat. It needs to maintain that fat and keep it on the body just in case you go into a famine and you're not able to eat. So our bodies are the same as they used to be. Our minds and bodies work exactly the same as they did 5,000 years ago. And so we're kind of going about those same methods and working with the body rather than against it.
No, that is a big mindset shift most people don't think about. What's your take on the best ways to keep our metabolism high as we age?
I got a few for you here. So, one thing that I find to be the best, you can check in any meta analysis around this. Strength training, resistance training is one of the best things you can possibly do to improve your metabolism, to improve your insulin sensitivity as well. And building muscle, you're going to be burning more calories just sitting on a couch doing absolutely nothing with a little bit more muscle than the next person that's sitting there doing absolutely nothing with a little bit less muscle. It's a huge part of it, especially as you age, you lose muscle. It's important to build it back through methods such as resistance training. I also always incorporate the insulin sensitivity walks, I call it, going on a 10-minute walk after every meal. This has been shown in a multitude of studies to improve your insulin sensitivity, which basically makes it like losing weight on easy mode rather than doing it on hard mode.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So, your insulin is what shuttles your glucose to the muscle stores in the body. And your insulin, if it becomes resistant, which is what typically happens for as you get older, women get past the age of 30, they become more insulin resistant. When that starts working more poorly, you will notice that you're gaining weight easier through everything. That's usually when you start to notice you eat anything and you start to gain weight. That is usually due to insulin resistance, especially women with PCOS. Women with PCOS are extra insulin resistant. Therefore, that's why you would like to improve the sensitivity of it by doing things like resistance training, going on a 10-minute walk after every meal, or also by getting in a little bit more protein, especially in the mornings.
Now, is that why women over 30 need a different approach to lose weight than younger women?
That is a huge part of it. Yes, insulin resistance is a huge part of it.
Okay, what else do women over 30 have different from younger women?
So a lot of it is the lifestyle. The lifestyle of a woman over 30, typically kids, a family, they're busy. They're taking all their time out of their day to help these kids. They're helping the family. They are working on their career and they kind of lose track of themselves at some point. They stop having that focus on themselves. And that's something you can't forget about. It's always good to continue to have that focus on yourself and your own health at some point.
No, yeah, I mean, focus on your health, and everyone has a different lifestyle. I mean, you're right. I mean, everyone's lifestyle is so different, especially if you're having kids at, around that age. And I really want to ask you, like, why do hormones play such a big role in weight gain over 30?
So the main reason is kind of what I said with the insulin. That's kind of one of the main ones there. That's kind of the one I really want to discuss today, as insulin plays such a big role in where your body stores fat. And also one another thing to look at here would be the location of the fat that you're storing. You can look at things like sex hormones, sex hormone binding globulins, as well as testosterone and estrogen. If you're someone that is starting to hold bit more fat in the belly area that's very stubborn, it could be more of a hormonal issue. Typically, women that have higher levels of testosterone and lower levels of estrogen, they're going to start to notice more stubborn belly fat. As well, when guys have higher estrogen and lower testosterone, you're going to notice that they have more fat carried in like the lower body, in more of the legs and the butt area. That's a way to look at it as well.
That's really interesting because I could see like a lot of women out there blaming their metabolism on that, on their weight
Right.
gain.
Yeah. And that's usually what they say is like, I need to get my metabolism faster. But that's the thing. Most people don't know how to actually do that. And it's kind of simple when you actually have the right tools and strategies in place.
Speaking of the right tools, I mean, what does the B3 method and how does it work?
We focus on, like I said, the approach of sustainability. and actual results. That's something we pride ourselves in, is actually doing something that feels right and shifting the mindset. That is one of the biggest things. Shifting the mindset from I have to work out. I have to eat healthy to I get to work out. I get to eat healthy. You see what I did?
No, I like that a lot. I have a quote on the back of my wall back there. It says, "Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings."
Sure, I like that one. I like that one. Yeah, that's a good quote. I also
Because a
don't
lot of
think it
people
always comes
they
down to necessarily just the feelings, because I look at the approach of less of the David Goggins method of, just do it even if it sucks. I don't really like that approach. I respect the guy, of course. The guy's probably one of the hardest workers in the world, but I don't like that approach for 99% of the public. For most of the general public, I prefer the atomic habits method. Atomic Habits by James Clear. He references that it's more about building positive, sustainable habits rather than just forcing yourself to do something every day. When you force yourself to do something every day, eventually you're going to fail. Everyone is eventually going to fail if you force yourself to do something you hate every single day of your life. Instead, let's make it something that you actually enjoy doing.
Yeah, no, you're so true on that. And Justin, can you dive a little bit deeper into that? Is it more discipline?
I'd say so. With discipline is at the beginning, it takes discipline. Yes. Any sort of shift in life is going to take some discipline because you're going to get uncomfortable to do that. And that's going to require some discipline. But I think for the long term results, you don't always need to be having this extreme level of discipline, because my goal is to make it something that is actually enjoyable. You're going to want to do it instead of have to do it. So that's where it becomes less of discipline and more so positive habits.
No, that's such a good point. I appreciate you sharing that input. And it seems like a lot of people out there like losing weight. It seems like a lot of people like they're losing weight, but it's like keeping it off is the real challenge for them. Why do you think so many diets fail?
They're just too restrictive and they're not sustainable. I mean, we can target a few here, like the carnivore diets, the keto diets. They're not very sustainable. They have their place, of course. I'd say that, like for me personally, quick story. When I was competing in my show, the one where I got that medal right there, I was on keto just for the end. But I don't recommend that for somebody that is just wanting to be healthy. If you just want to be sustainably healthy for the rest of your life, I don't recommend things like keto. The thing is with keto is it's great for temporary results. Say you have a photo shoot coming up that you need to look nice and shredded for, or you have a competition coming up, like I was mentioning earlier. For those types of situations, keto's fantastic for you. Or if you're possibly just somebody that personally loves doing keto and it's not difficult for you, then go for it. More power to you. I 100% recommend it for that type of person. But 99% of the population is not that person. So, again, going back to my focus on sustainability.
Yeah, I bet there's one thing that almost everyone does that holds them back. What's your take on what's one thing that everyone could do to try to lose weight?
I'd say to start off with limiting your ultra processed foods, the ultra palatable foods, the kinds that you crave, the kind that are like actual drugs for the brain. Those kind, play the 80-20 rule with them. Think of things like pastries, donuts, McDonald's, all these things that are super tasty and ultra addicting. Try to limit your intake with those, because the issue with that isn't necessarily what's in it, but it is the fact that we overeat those foods. We overeat those foods because they're very addictive and they make them so that they are addictive. So that's how they make their money, by us overeating those foods. And when we overeat those foods, I don't know the exact statistics on it. Something like we on average eat about 700 more calories a day than what we should. Don't quote me on that, but it's crazy to think about. We're overeating every day just because we're eating so much of these ultra palatable foods. Well, if we were just eating whole foods all day, it'd be impossible to overeat. No one would be overweight if we just ate whole foods every day.
Justin, you make it sound simple instead of overwhelming.
That's the approach with it, man. That's how it should be. Fitness should be simple.
Um, I have to as we were just talking about, what's your take on cheat meals?
Cheat meals can be great for a lot of people. I'm all about balance. I'd say me personally, I just had Olive Garden like a week ago and I ate to my heart's content. My stomach hated it. I didn't regret it though. I enjoyed it. It was fantastic. It was a great time with the girlfriend. It was great. And I'm not going to regret that. I'm not going to feel bad about that because we want to be healthy so that we can have these good experiences, so that we can enjoy the quality of our life. I don't think it's very quality of life if you are saying, no, I can't go out to dinner tonight. That'll put me over my calories. I'll just stay inside and eat this bowl of beef instead, you know?
No, I understand exactly what you mean. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but my method for what I do is the first 3 hours I wake up, I don't really eat any food. I drink water. Maybe I have a cup of coffee. Then 2 hours before I go to bed, I don't eat anything as well. What's your take on that? Is there any type of method that people should have when they're eating in time zones?
As for the timing, it's not really all that important. It's about the total amount, of course. But one big thing to think about here is not just looking at weight loss, looking at overall health. Let's look at quality of sleep. If someone were to eat a big, heavy, carb loaded meal right before going to sleep, their quality of sleep is going to be reduced. And that is going to make an impact on your day because then the next day you're going to have more cravings. Your ghrelin hormone is going to be more activated by you being underslept. And it's going to cause you to be more stressed throughout the day and more hungry throughout the day, leading to weight gain. So it's not necessarily because the calories that come from that late night dinner. No, it's more so because it disrupts your sleep. As for the mornings, I am personally someone that doesn't like to eat as soon as I wake up, but that's more of a personal decision. That's not because of anything to do with weight. I typically just drink a coffee with a little bit of a protein shake inside of it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, what's the biggest mindset shift people need to make a long-term success in weight loss?
The biggest mindset shift, I'd say, again, shifting from the thought of food as just being a coping mechanism. Because if you just eat when you're stressed, that's going to be the thing you do every time you're stressed. And that's not a healthy coping mechanism. Everyone needs some sort of healthy coping mechanism. For me personally, I like to read, I like to go on walks, and I like to go to the gym. Those are the things I will do when I'm stressed out. And it keeps me from, instead of getting stressed out, overeating, because that's typically what most people will go to. Because, food tastes good. So you want to eat it when you're stressed to make you not stressed. So it's good to find a healthy vice to have instead of that.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And food can be an addiction as well. A lot of people, they fall into that addiction, and I'm sure a lot of people have. I'm sure there's a lot of bad tips out there floating around, but I mean, what's a weight loss myth that you hear all the time that drives you crazy?
I mean, there's plenty of them out there. A lot of people, for one, that bothers me is people think you need to do endless cardio to lose weight. They think that's the only way to lose weight is just by doing endless cardio. And sure, cardio has its benefits. There's benefits through mental clarity. There is benefits through cardiovascular health. Some people do it for spiritual reasons. But I see cardio as it's a useful tool. You can burn a little bit of calories with it, sure, but I don't look at it as burning calories at all. Instead, I like to teach the body to burn more calories on its own rather than just endlessly doing cardio because it is a myth that that's the only thing you can do for weight loss. And that's a common one. A lot of people believe that's the only way to lose weight, it's just through cardio. It's just simply not true. You can't outrun a bad diet.
No, I love that. You can't outrun a bad diet, and it is harder to burn more calories when you get older, correct?
So, I mean, yeah, but mostly due to, like I said earlier, the muscle mass reduction. As you lose more muscle, you burn less calories naturally. So, like I said earlier, just sitting on a couch doing nothing, the difference between a guy with muscle versus not with muscle, you're going to be burning more with the muscle. That's one of the main reasons that our metabolism slowed down, actually.
Wow, that's very interesting. And a lot of people think that you just need to do cardio, endless cardio, like you were saying. And a lot of people don't understand you have to do the workout correctly. I mean, if you're on the treadmill and you're holding on to the sides, you're cheating basically. You're holding yourself up. And people got to understand that, you can't take like shortcuts in weight loss.
Yeah, it's really not something that you can shortcut because the thing with weight loss is it's not something that you do and then you're done with it. Once you lose that weight, you're not done. This is something that lasts a lifetime. It's not just get it done quick, run as much as you can and starve yourself, lose 30 pounds, then go back to your normal life. Because then you still have the mentality of an obese person, but then you might have the physical body of someone that's healthy or not healthy, but someone that weighs less. So if you still have that mentality of someone that's obese, you're always going to get right back to that. That's why, again, I focus on changing the mentality around things, the way that they think, and those positive habits, putting those in place.
Yeah, if you change your mentality, it'll change your life. And I know a lot of women over 30, not everyone has the time for the gym. Is it possible to lose weight without going to the gym?
Yes, yes, it is possible to lose weight without going to the gym. I have many of my female clients that are, extremely busy, don't have time to get into a gym, and they're still able to do some little at home exercises, squats, planks, push ups, things as simple as that. Because as long as you're doing more than what you're doing now, you don't necessarily need to be someone getting into the gym and benching a whole bunch of weight. It can even just be 10 push ups throughout the day if that is something you've never done before. Something as small as that, small changes can make a huge difference. That combined with proper nutrition, bam, you're good.
No, that is so true, Coach Justin. And between work and family and life, it's easy to put yourself last. I mean, how can a busy woman make time for like weight loss without feeling overwhelmed?
I'd say to start with 10 to 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. Start with baby steps. Something to think about is you're sitting at the desk all day, working the entire day. You have time to maybe stand up, do 10 squats, sit back down. Do that every couple hours. That's something that's more than what you were doing before. In fact, I read a study on this not too long ago. Again, don't quote me on this because I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it was something about how above 80% of people could help reduce the risk of obesity by just standing up for maybe 5 times a day. You'd be surprised the amount of people that will just sit at a desk and not stand up once for 8 hours straight. Stand up, go to the fridge, come back and sit back down. It's a pretty common thing, actually. And that increases your risk of all cause mortality right there by whatever the percentage is. A decent percent, I know that.
It's incredible. I mean, a lot of people have breaks at work. I mean, if you get up and walk around, just that small little mindset shift can make a big difference, don't you say?
Absolutely. That's why most of my clients, I have them start off with just going on a 10-minute walk after every meal. I think walking is one of the best forms of exercises because it is convenient, it's easy, it's fast. You don't have to put on gym clothes just to go outside and walk for 10 minutes. So easy.
Plus, it's a little bit of when you're walking around, it just you yourself and you just with nature sometimes, or you're on a treadmill at your house or something like that. I mean, it's just like a little bit of a meditation process you can have. I mean, now with that being said, a lot of people struggle with, eating food and trying to decide what to eat. I mean, what's your take on meal prepping?
Meal prepping could be useful. If you're someone that throughout the whole week you're going to be super busy and you know that, and say you have Sunday free, go ahead and be a chef. Be Chef Boyardee on Sunday. Go ahead and cook up as many meals as you can. Get it prepared for the week. If that helps you, if that's convenient for you, go for it.
And a lot of people they don't have time for it. They all say that. And what's your take on fast food? And is there like a healthier lifestyle or anything like that? Is there a healthier fast food thing that someone could reach and like can go for instead of the normal fast food?
Sure. Yeah. So, quick backstory here. I used to work before what I did now. I used to work on an oil rig in Alaska for 16 hours out of the day. I was also preparing for a bodybuilding show while I was doing this. I didn't have time to meal prep. I didn't have time to do anything because I was working for 16 hours out of the day and doing an hour commute and an hour commute back. That's 18 hours out of the day. I barely even had time to sleep. trying to prep for a bodybuilding show. And so I was doing everything as convenient as I can. I would only buy things at grocery stores, gas stations, and fast food. And I was still able to succeed because what I was doing was I would go for fast food that was typically high protein, high fiber, trying to do as low calories as I can. And things I would opt for would say be like Panda Express is one example. You could go there and you could get a bowl of rice with grilled chicken on top of it. You get that, you get the teriyaki sauce on the side, and maybe dip a little bit in it. That's just a little bit of sugar, not too much. That's a great choice right there. A lot better than getting orange chicken. Way better than getting orange chicken. Just avoid the orange chicken. Of course, within moderation, it's fine. But also, some options like at restaurants, they'll have something along the lines of a grilled chicken sandwich. I'll typically opt for choices like that. I try to always, I have a rule when I go out to eat, I never get anything fried. That's my rule. I never get anything fried, and I don't drink my calories unless those calories are from a protein shake.
Wow, that's some great knowledge right there. I appreciate you sharing that, Coach Justin. And sometimes grabbing fast food is like the only option. And now, how can someone eat healthier without spending a ton of money?
So that would, are you talking about if it was fast food?
No, just
Because if you're
in
getting
general.
only, okay, I would say buy it in bulk because you know what? Healthy food is not expensive. What is expensive is food that is marketed as healthy. The foods that say this is healthy, this is high protein, low calorie, those are overpriced because they know that those are going to catch your eye. It's a marketing gimmick. Instead, opt for those whole foods that aren't extremely marketed. A bag of potatoes just says Idaho potatoes on it. Those are going to be cheap. It's also the number one most satiating food is a potato. It'll keep you very nice and full. Potatoes are actually very good for you as long as you're not eating them deep fried and, in fry form. They're a lot better when you're just eating a potato. And if you air fry it and season it, it's delicious, by the way. You mash up a potato, don't add a whole bunch of butter to it. Delicious, decent calories. Could you remind me your question?
No, it was. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I was asking you, how can people eat healthier without spending a lot of money?
Yeah, yeah. So going back to it, like just the other day, I went to Sam's Club and for less than $200, I got a couple weeks worth of meats. I got a bunch of these 3 pound packs of meats. Each one's like $11 to $16, somewhere in that range. That's not that bad, especially for nowadays with the pricing of everything. I was able to get a whole bunch of meats. I got this 50-pound bag of rice that was like $20. You can get a lot of food and healthy food for a cheap amount as long as you know how to actually shop. As long as you're not falling for those scams of this is healthy, this isn't healthy, buy this. Another great idea is to shop on the outskirts of a store. Shopping on the outskirts is where they typically keep the things that are less processed and lower prices.
Wow, that's such a good point. And I bet you've had a lot of client stories that's proven your method works. I mean, what's one of the most inspiring transformations you've seen?
So just the other day, I received an audio message from a client of mine. She's been with me for a little over 6 months. Her name's Jeanette, and she sent me an audio message that was just so emotional. She was in tears, crying about how she has to buy new pants now. She's gone down so much weight. She just sees herself completely different in the mirror. Her energy has just skyrocketed. Her confidence is through the roof. And she's just feeling amazing about herself. And it got me a little bit emotional myself. I was about in tears at the gym when I was listening to her on this audio message because I get into these transformations, man. I get really into these transformations. And then I get something like that from a client, her just crying, talking about, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for where I'm at. Like, it gets me emotional, man.
No, I mean, helping people change their lives has a feeling of has to feel amazing. I mean, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
I'd say it's definitely there's a couple parts that are my favorite. One of my favorite parts is when I'm first on a phone call with someone, we're talking about why this is truly something that's important to them. Their why. I always call it their why. Talking to someone about their why is one of my favorite parts, as well as the actual end of those transformations and getting those voice messages of things like that, oh my gosh, you've helped me so much, and looking back to see the transformation photos with them, those are some of my favorite parts right there.
Now, Coach Justin, if someone is listening that is feeling stuck and hopeless about weight loss, what would you tell them?
I'd say that it's normal to feel that way. Allow yourself to feel that way because it's very normal to have those ups and downs, but don't let yourself stay down. Allow yourself to take the time that you need to feel down, get back up. And of course, the best thing to possibly do is to hire a coach to help you out through this. But it's not everyone has the availability or the funds to be able to do that. And so the best thing to think is to remember your why behind everything. Kind of going back to the why. It's important to think about your why in those tough times. Why this is something that's truly important to you, the deeper reason behind it.
Is that one thing that someone could start today to feel better about their body is start by writing down their why?
That is a great way is to sit and ponder it. Take the next couple 30 minutes to really think about why this is important to you and what you want to do and why you want to achieve it. Write these things down, put it somewhere where you won't forget it. Put it as your phone screen, hang it up on your ceiling above your bed so you wake up and see it every day. Whatever it is that's going to remind you to do that, that's going to be super beneficial for you.
That's so powerful. And this is just it's kind of a question I have because I just popped in my head, but what's your take on weight loss supplements?
Do you mean like the over the counter weight loss supplements or prescription ones like Ozempic that actually do work?
Can you dive into both?
So as for most weight loss supplements, typically they're all scams. They're kind of just like caffeine pills, and caffeine doesn't really have any sort of direct correlation with weight loss. Besides, of course, it can make you hot and sweaty, and people think they're losing weight because they're all hot and sweaty. I don't bother with those. That's not really effective. But things like Ozempic, I would say there is definitely a place for that. If you are somebody that otherwise not taking it, you would not have started on your own, that I do recommend it for you. If you are someone that is obese, you are someone that is wanting to make this change. You've been wanting to make this change for a long time to better yourself and your health and feel good about yourself again, but you just don't know where to start. You're struggling and you know that without it, you wouldn't start. If it's something to get you started, whatever it takes, then go for it. But I would just say to make sure to do it in the right way. Have a professional by your side, hire a trainer by your side because there's many side effects that do come with it. And I think it's good to understand those side effects before taking it. Always do your research on anything before taking it. Don't just take it because your friend took it and it worked for them. Do your own research on it. See if it's actually right for you and understand the side effects before doing so and work with a professional through it.
No, I bet most of the weight loss supplements are just a waste of money. But I mean, like you're saying, like go hire a coach and he'll help you through the process like you. I mean, what's next for you? Any big plans for your coaching and your B3 method?
As of right now, the plan is to continue to expand, to continue to change lives and continue to make a difference in the world, finding sustainability for everyone out there, for those women out there that are struggling, that have been struggling for a long time, finding a sense of peace in themselves finally, being confident in themselves finally. That's the plan. Just continue what I'm doing.
That's powerful. And keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And the show is called Every Day is Friday. And Friday has a special energy, whether it's freedom, excitement, or just feeling of accomplishment after a long week. I want to hear from you. What does Friday mean to you?
What does Friday mean to me? Oh man, that's a tough one. Fridays are I mean, typically what I do on a Friday is I take calls with my clients, and that's something I enjoy doing. It's something I love to do. So yeah, it's a great Friday for me is talking with my clients on some check-in calls, discussing how their week went and keeping them fired up and motivated.
I love that. And all your information will be in the description down below, but I want to make sure the people know where to find you. Where can the people follow and support your work?
Instagram is the best place. Justin Mabson, JustinMabson. That is all. On Instagram is the best place. TikTok I have also, same username, but who knows how long that's going to be around.
And no, I appreciate you being on the show. And this is your chance to leave the listeners with something powerful. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Let that resonate with you.
I appreciate that. That is powerful. That is very powerful. And I know the listeners got a lot of value out of this. It's been an awesome conversation. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for sharing your stories and experiences.
Having me, Matthew. I appreciate it, man.
No, and to everyone listening, stay tuned for more amazing stories on Every Day is Friday Podcast 365. If you enjoyed this, make sure to follow, share, and keep Every Day is Friday mindset going. Until next time, stay inspired and make every day feel like Friday. Until next time, everybody.